Hi everyone. This particular self-care shorty is one of my all-time favorites and one that I share with nearly all of my clients at some point in time. It has to do with a lot of postural, the ability to be upright and therefore more comfortable, to have your skeleton supporting you in uprightness rather than forcing your back to hold yourself up or any of the other ministrations that we go through to help ourselves sit in a chair or stand and walk upright and more upright naturally position. A lot of it has to come from the flexion of the front. You can see if I let my chest drop, what happens to the position of my head, my back rounds. My head has to come slightly forward because the neck shortens pretty severely actually. The 20-pound head, the more you flex and the more the head comes forward, the more heavy the head becomes on these little muscles up here. These really aren't meant to support the head. They're meant to facilitate specific movements. They're not really meant as support mechanisms. But the minute you're flexed and the head is like this, all of that support, this is what's holding your head up, which is now a 30 to 40 pound weight range. And that can become quite painful and through here, as many of you know. So a lot of it is, again, computer work. We've got our arm forward that pulls us into this flexion thing. Bad chairs that are too tall for us. This stool happens to be cut short for my leg length so that I can have these parallel legs to the floor so that I can really support my pelvis in this upright position, which then supports the rib cage, which then can support the head. Instead of people that are in this habit, now these muscles are chronically shortened and contracted. And that's what we want to address with today's self-care shorty, the blanket roller. Now, we're going to talk about a couple other roller versions first before we get going on the blanket roller. These are the harm-form rollers that everybody's got, about a 6-inch diameter, and that's what you're going to be going for in terms of size. On the blanket roller, you can see it's about 3 feet long. This is really too hard for what we're starting with today. This is a little more advanced and down the road. It'll be facilitating movement and core balance in order to stay on this roll and slight movements that, anyway, this is not for today. So just put this away if you have one. There's also these half sizes in that same hard foam. Again, we don't really need those today. There's also these kind of squishy foam rollers, but these are just too soft. When you go to lie on it, the heaviest parts of your body are going to sink all the way to the floor, and you're just not going to get an even sense of support with these softy rollers. So that leaves us with rolling up blankets to create a roller, to create both some squish but also firm support. So let me adjust the camera to point closer to the floor, and we'll get going with the blanket roller. Alright. Now, preferably on a first surface like the floor, but if you can't get down and up from the floor, definitely do this on your bed, that's fine. But definitely move aside any like squishy comforters or anything like that. Get as firm a surface as you can get with your own movement capabilities. Now here I've got 2 blankets because they're both summer lightweight blankets and they are not very thick. You could also imagine that these are just towels, beach towels or bath towels laid out and layered up in order to get a good thickness for this. You know, use what you've got. And then we're just going to roll it. Try to get it fairly snug, but you know, we don't need to spend too much time worrying about that. Bring it back here where you can see. You're also going to want to have like a small towel or something like this. Once you get on the roller, if your head is too kicked back, you're going to want to additionally put something behind your head on the roller. So here we have our rolled up blanket. One of the best things to do is to start laying flat. We're going to get, so you know what's happening. You get your sensory experience. So you're just going to, lay flat with your arms and your legs long, Really get a sense of how you meet the surface that you're laying on. What parts of you are touching? What parts are really standing out as being above the surface and not touching? Just kind of take a mental imprint of how you feel just lying here flat on the floor. Take a minute or two to do that. And always, when you come to sitting, roll to the side. If I just sit straight up, I'm just going to reinforce all this flexion that I'm trying to let go of. So always roll to your side and come to sitting, especially before and after the blanket. Now, bring your blanket over. Make sure I'm in the screen of the camera here. It needs to be long enough for your pelvis and your head to be completely on the roller, so your sacrum and your head and neck and everything will be supported. So get here, your feet are going to stay flat on the floor because you're slightly raised off the floor. You don't want to strain your lower back. And just hold on back to lay on the blanket roller. Now the sacrum and the entire spine and all the muscles of the spine are now supported. My neck, head, everything is supported except the rib cage, and the hips themselves are allowed to passively start to give themselves to folding around the blanket. So passively, the more you lay here, it's only 5 or 10 minutes at a time, maybe once a day, maybe twice a day, whatever. But only like 5 or 10 minutes at a time. You can just lay here. If you do some nice big deep belly breaths, that encourages movement of the rib cage to expand and fold around the blanket roller. That's always nice. You literally just lay here. It's a nice meditative practice. Just lay here and breathe. Lay here and breathe. One thing that you need to note is the position of the arms and the shoulders. Many people with rolled forward shoulders can't really lengthen their arms on the floor like this very easily, and they tend to do this. Roll out the arms with these hyperextended elbows. This is what you want to avoid. In order to encourage the shoulders to come back, you need to be in a more skeletally neutral position, meaning your arms, either palms, your hands facing your body or facing the floor. And if you need to kick out your elbows to accomplish that, that's fine. Just avoid doing that at this point. So you just lay here. At the most movement you can do this little wiggly thing through the pressure of your feet. Just a little vibrating thing. I'm sure you can see my head moving a little bit. But you just lay here, just lay here. Deep breathing is a really good thing to do while you're on the blanket roller. Close your eyes and relax. Think about how you can just give even more to the gravity. So you lay here about, like I say, 5, maybe 10 minutes at the most. And then again, to come off the roller, roll to your side. Do not, avoid this whole sitting up, and enforcing these muscles again. So you're just going to roll to the side, off of the roller, kick it back out of the way, and then come back to laying flat on the floor. And even just after that minute, I notice a difference in my contact with the floor. It's really amazing. If you do this 5 minutes in every day, this will start to slowly unwind the difference in your contact with the floor, and then which means this is letting go, which means when I get up, I'm going to be able to be upright even easier. So this is the blanket roller. I really encourage everybody, and again, when you get up off the bed or the floor, roll to your side to come to sitting. The blanket roller is just really easy. It creates a very passive way to open up this front line and give the back some relief. And the nervous system really likes easy. It responds to friendliness. So enjoy. Get your rollers out and keep it rolled up, actually. If you just have these spare parts and keep it in a roller and stick it in the corner, you can just bring it out every day without having to go through this, dig out the blankets, roll them up, blah, blah, blah. And it might be a little easier to get it into your daily life of it that way if you're prepared for it. You can just toss it on the bed or the floor and get on it. So enjoy the blanket roller. It's a wonderful, wonderful exercise. Peace.